Thank you.
Welcome to the Molybdenum Software Show, where sometimes cute dogs appear. Oh, the back parts of cute dogs appear. Love, come. No? Well, whenever you feel ready,
Oh,
here you are. Yeah, see,
full
that was
frontal.
worth it. That was worth a watch. Or a like, or share, subscribe. I just found that my NeoVim, my telescope, doesn't it ignores hidden files. So that's something that it's like a
Oh,
bug from transitioning my telescope from my home manager NeoVim to my NixVim.
yeah.
Don't know how that happened, but mind we look into it for a moment. It'll take just a moment,
Sure.
probably.
I don't use telescope.
Don't use telescope. What do you use? So here it is. What do
I
you use?
use FZF Lua for the fuzzy file opener,
Mm-hmm.
and then I mean, I think people use telescope for a lot of things, so I might have other things that fill some of those roles, and I might just have missing features or whatever. I'm not sure. Telescope seems
Okay.
to do a lot.
So this is unrelated change. I noticed that I had a
Oh, but rip grep's your issue, right? So you you
yes.
you plug in the finder, or you're trying to
Yes.
do that now? Okay.
Yes,
So
it was
rip grep.
working just fine in Home Manager, NeoVim.
Okay. I'm not sure I know what changed, but what I can tell you
Mm-hmm.
is rip grep has this weird behavior.
Mm-hmm.
Da, 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 da. Do you happen to have you don't have my dot files cloned, do you?
Now let me just commit this tiny change here.
Sure.
Um, Telescope, no. Okay, that's one.
And just to confirm, that command is the core thing. It's not a telescope question, right? It's why does rg dash dash files ignore dot files?
I hope like one option is that Telescope is not using this at all. And that would explain it.
Oh, okay.
I'm not sure it would explain it actually. I don't know
Can
what the
you
default
just
Telescope
run
behavior is.
rg dash dash files and see if it
But
behaves
it's
the
not
way
just
that?
okay. So it's concatenated with these, which are this has this flag.
Okay. That's the magic. I hadn't seen that, but yes, the whole like. Well, does dash dash hidden mean?
Show it
Oh shit, we got deer
included.
on the beach.
What? Oh, you're
There's a
saying a
family
deer?
of deer on the beach.
A family. Mm-hmm.
Oh, there are four of them. Wow. I don't think this is going to come across, but I'll try.
Uh, yeah. One, two, three, four behind the tree.
Yeah, I've never seen
Ah,
that.
go deer, go!
Wow. Okay, sorry for this.
Cute.
Okay, different kind of animal. This is the animal
I
I'm just looking for.
wonder whether this is actually the problem. I mean, I don't think it's because I have RG in path anyway. I have RG.
Yeah, so that's working, but you're now using RG's default behavior, which is to ignore dot files. And so you need to do dash dash hidden to show all dot files, but then annoyingly, dot get is a dot file that isn't covered by your own git ignores.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
So yeah. So I think you just need those RG args. Oh, you're using the RG arg. Sorry,
I'm using.
I just woke up.
It's okay. So despite of this, it's not. I'm going to look at the telescope documentation, and it's not this one. This. But let's go right now. And I don't know, customization, pickers, requires rip grep, live grep, get find files. Where can I find the tip? I found this tip somewhere.
That tip I found on like
Dog.
RG's wiki.
Say again.
That dash hidden and then the like bang .git.
In the wiki here somewhere.
I got that. Well, I mean, not for me. It wasn't on the Telescope wiki. It was just on the RipGrep wiki.
Search pages.
Find command.
Yeah.
Parse.
What is this? Is this a test?
Looks like it.
Why is this in a test here? If hidden. This is files. So the built-in command archie. Whoa, look. There's like a built-in support for hidden here. If hidden.
If
I don't need
command
to...
is FD or FD fine. Neat.
That's interesting. Blame this. Hidden. Faster list extend. I don't think that's it. Go back.
Oh man, that's somebody profiling NVIM startup time right there.
Oh no.
And micro optimizing how to extend Lua tables.
I don't see hidden now in this file, so it must be it. But now I don't see it. What did I do? Go back again. Oh, sorry. Yeah, blame. Hidden. Must be this one. No, it's not. I don't get it. Something was wrong with the search, I suppose, right? If I go before this, I should still see hidden here. How can I not see hidden? What am I doing wrong, Jeremy?
I don't know the answer to your question. At this point, I would clone the repo. But I don't know. Git blame seems like it should find the thing there, unless it got like moved from one file to another, and then
I didn't. In the same file.
Yeah.
What?
Let's do a clone and we'll have a good answer.
Blame prior. This is proprietary, so we don't care that it doesn't work right.
Yeah. That's my general attitude.
So without the blame, when I switched to the code, I found what I was looking for. How can it be that I can't find it here? That's what I'm asking.
Yeah.
Blame should show us everything. Not even the word hidden.
Blame. Those should have the exact same lines of code, right?
There's something wrong. I think it's here. I think that it's the word hidden is actually. Oh. Do you think it lazy loaded or something wrong with the search?
Maybe
look that. Hyphen doesn't work, or even one hyphen.
Is it a different type of hyphen?
Sorry, I don't even know what went on now. Something is hidden. Come on. Oh, I'm pretty sure it's lazy loaded.
Okay. That's extremely unfortunate, given that people are going to do Control F on pages. But now the dash dash didn't work, or are there two weird things going on? The lazy loading plus something weird about the search.
I think there's two weird things. And now that I
And then the
click
page keeps
this,
reloading.
yeah, yeah.
What is
When I
causing that
click
pop-up?
outside,
Oh god. Yeah.
the pop-up,
All right,
page reloads.
man.
Do you know how to use git blame?
Like at the command line?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I have a nice Git plugin for it. But then I will say, if I haven't gone on this rant with you yet, I think Git blame is like the most misused tool. I don't think it's the right tool for like spelunking for where did this thing come from. Like I think git log dash g is
Mm-hmm.
always, almost always a better choice for whatever it is people are trying to do.
Mm-hmm. You're saying something like on this thing. Even telescope.
And I got to build this this project idea so that I can get you to just copy paste those URLs and go.
Mm-hmm. Here and then telescope. Telescope. Clone. And telescope. Come on. Telescope.env. Git log with G.
Capital G.
Git
And then you
env.
probably need to do the dash dash separator trick or something. We'll see. Yep, maybe not. Yep.
But
This is going to show us every, and then if you add a dash P, it'll show the.
mhm. Well, this
So
is
this is
not
the
the one we're looking
blame.
for.
And then if we go to the next one,
I will search for hidden here.
love it. Thank you.
So this is the first one. Still the no. This is
This is the test.
this is probably it. In any case, what I wanted to see is like, does this come with documentation as well? That's what I wanted to see. Same change. Okay, here's the beginning of it, and now we go try to find the next file here. Ooh, actually,
So a file got renamed or something.
that looks like a rename with editing.
That's going to be tricky to track.
Well, let's just look. Yeah, there it is. So let's just look for. Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Sorry, I need to go to the bathroom. I'll be right back.
Okay. What is this change? That looks like was like a documentation rewrite or something. Hmm. Wait, back. Shouldn't back get me back? Sure, what's going on here? Am I not in like search mode? Oh no, this is a pager. I okay. Oof. This looks like a documentation rewrite. I think it's not it. Especially since I see no change hidden here. So that it already existed. Possibly this one added it. What is that? It looks like a test. I don't think that's it. No. If not, find command. That already has some hidden. I think I'm doing something quite obsolete. Uh-huh. Okay. Feed. Add hidden to find files. There we are. So, but that doesn't have documentation. Julian Behrman. Local hidden ops hidden. Find files ops. And if works for RG as well. Well, it doesn't explain why mine doesn't work. Mine should also work, I think, but seemingly unnecessary. So find command. Huh. The find command is supposed to be about. Well, let's look at the docs for this. Should be docs anyway, right? Docs for what? Find files. And oh, so this is past. Okay, I can. Okay, let's see. Yeah. So, and what? How am I? How am I? What am I doing here? Pickers find files. I'm like setting the options like defaults, which is fine as well, I suppose. Like, I mean, maybe even nicer, maybe even wiser. Find files. But does that mean that it could be like instead of as a argument part of the command, it could be top level here, hidden.
Hello.
Hey.
Any luck?
Well, I found the commit. The commit that added the hidden feature doesn't have documentation, which is strange because I do see documentation for this. Built-in find files has this option hidden.
Okay, sure. How do you
And
know whether you're using ripgrep or whatever?
the command, the find command.
That's okay. So it's not an absolute path. It's just like a.
Oh, that's interesting because I'm using an absolute path.
Right, exactly. That's why I asked.
Oh.
So they have an if statement that says if command equals RG, but your command is like slash next door slash
Yeah.
something something something.
Okay, so basically I cannot use their hidden option.
This is kind
I
of like
could if I did like use NixVim's extra packages to place
that would
ripgrep
wrap
in the path.
nixvim with the path.
I think NixVim should have
Got it.
something like that.
Yeah, or if not, it's trivial to do yourself. But yeah, that's a bummer. I'm sorry. Also, that feature feels kind of broken to me to assume.
Yeah.
There should be
Well,
some
and
sort of like command type argument or something.
I mean, arguments work for me as well. Like why the find command used for the search can be a
Right.
function, but what's strange is that maybe it can no longer support arguments because it doesn't seem like the source is like allowing for that. You see
Oh, it just
you
makes
know,
that a command, and then it wants to control the argument parsing or the argument generation.
yeah, because you see isn't sorry, I'm not sure how I got here. What is this diagnostics? Hold on. It was no, sorry, it was here in the it was here. Okay, so you see this?
Yep. Okay.
um
But that's not your if, right? You've got an absolute path.
Wait, vim fn executable. What does that mean? Fn
Oh,
fn.
this almost feels like it's checking for. Oh, this is if a find command's not specified, they'll use fd, and if they can find it, and if not, they'll use.
What is vim fn executable? What
I
is
bet that
this?
checks. It's basically like doing a which of such and such in order to know it's true or false. Or command is how you do this in bash scripts. Is this thing on the path?
Um, so this is just for the default.
Yeah. But you're not in. You see the outer if statement. If not, find command.
Well, let's go. Let's go to the current code then, because I don't particularly care to see this change. Wanna let's search for hidden. Just to readme. This is probably certainly it.
Yeah. So we're not going into any of this.
Command is find. Oh, it's the first one. It's the first one.
Never mind. Well, that doesn't matter. Okay, so find command is an array of arguments.
It does support
Command. Okay. I see. And then they're appending more things
it. Mm-hmm.
to the end. Okay. Got it.
It supports arguments, but it does not support it being an absolute path.
Yes.
And I don't care as long as it can be arguments. But it is arguments. Like I think what I'm doing is correct. So let me just like kind of make sure that
So
I am
yeah, can you set it to some
using.
totally bogus path and see what happens? Maybe that'll confirm that it's being used.
That's one. Yeah, that's one more thing we could do. So it's find files instead of this. Do not exist.
Yeah.
Okay. And we have next build, next run. Good enough. Dot.
Love it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, we were just watching the Sing thriller.
Sing thriller.
Yeah. So Netflix Sing thriller. Sing thriller.
A thriller like Michael Jackson.
Mm-hmm.
I've not heard of this.
It's a music video. It's fun. It's the
The hit
first music
Sing
video I
film.
saw on Netflix.
Huh.
Okay, let's try this. Boom! It still works.
Lovely.
It's not using my config.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's figure that out.
Here's what I'm doing. This is the settings, plugins, telescope, settings, and then it's freeform. So I'm alone in the dark.
I know the feeling.
like we talked about last time.
Yep.
And there's defaults. Okay. And then I'm doing pickers, find files, find command. Okay. Settings.
Seems reasonable.
Defaults, pickers, find files, find command. Let's see the docs for this. Where would they be set? Sorry, let me switch to the docs. Telescope. Let's see defaults. Here, that's pretty good, right?
Okay.
Defaults. Wait. Okay, so there is pickers at the top level, but there should be also. No, I think it's just wrong, isn't it?
I don't know. I don't have the other code in my head.
The default configuration for telescope goes here. Default configuration for built-in pickers goes here. It is a built-in picker. And mine go. Yeah, I could try moving it from defaults to pickers.
It's in
pickers
defaults right
from
now.
out. Yeah, I move pickers.
I agree. That sounds wrong based on what we're looking at here.
Valid keys for defaults. Sorting strategy, selection strategy, scroll, layout, cycle something, multi. I don't see path display and pick. No pickers. Ooh, I think we found it.
Okay, great.
All right, where's
Default
so
equals.
Unwrap this.
Is Vim grep arguments a different?
Vim. I'm sorry. Let's go see Vim grep arguments. Vim grep. This is telescope defaults.
That was a very cool unwrap that you just did, and I should learn how to do that. But in this case, we didn't want to do it.
I was just what? I thought that was trivial. Just use the percent sign, and then I delete something, and I paste it over. Oh, again, the percent sign.
I didn't
paste it over.
I didn't see what you were doing. That makes sense.
Cool. All right, let's see.
Looks good.
Format this awkwardly. And while we're here,
release a tree fump after NixCon.
Please do. Sorry, I did wrong. Add a dot here, and then go like this, and then go like this.
Good.
And this is kind of unrelated, but I'm editing this code anyway, so I'll go.
Ooh, you know what would be a
refactor that does this stuff, right?
Yeah. What's the NixD? You know, like what for the ones where it's adder sets that contain a single key, could you just, flatten one layer?
Yeah, totally. I want this.
That would be a very fun project. Is that written in a language you're willing to dabble in someday?
Sure. I'm willing to dabble in many things. It's a matter of priorities.
Sure. Okay.
Let's uncomment that. And I think we probably have a winner here.
Delete the next line.
Oh, sorry. Thank you. Okay, let's try running this.
Excuse me.
Git ignore. Git ignore.
That's a good start.
There. GitHub workflows.
Love it.
Yeah. Awesome work. Get diff staged. I don't think NixD has any refactorings at the moment.
Oh. Well,
Does
that
it?
could be a very fun learning experience.
It has some auto fixes. I think it can remove some unused things.
Yeah, like unused parentheses. I think I've seen that one.
That's
And like
probably
offers to add semicolons sometimes.
that's probably basic. That's probably very similar to refactoring.
Mm-hmm.
Fix the code find files. Okay, that's great. And now NHOS switch after it's tested, right? I did a similar thing where I have this when all my systems, when they boot up, there's this message, the boot message. So I basically brought it to the top of the flake, and it's now a package, so I can nix run, and it prints whatever will be printed at boot time.
Oh, cool. Where do you see this? This is like when the Linux kernel is booting?
Yes, especially because I have full disk encryption, so you can see it until that passphrase is entered. Does that make sense?
This is after you decrypt your disk.
This is before.
Oh, this is before.
Otherwise,
Got it.
yeah, it's for like if you find this.
Oh, gotcha. That's a nice idea.
There's an option. Basically, there's an option for this, but you can boot. There it is. That's my phone number and everything. If you want to
Oh, cool.
call sometimes.
I
So I
like
used lolcat and boxes. So it looks like this. Nix run
that.
boot message.
Oh, wow. Very pretty.
Yeah.
Does it, I guess that TTY supports color.
It's colorful at boot as well, yeah.
Wow. What's the DC on the left?
It's part of this frame. Don't know why.
Huh.
Maybe the artist
It
decided
draws
to.
the eye. But, oh, I see. Yeah, little. Got it. Very cool.
All
Well, I like
right.
that idea. I'm going to steal the idea. Maybe I won't go quite as colorful.
You're welcome. Here it is with even like how I managed to. It's basically part of flake.nixos modules.common.imports equals a list, and this is not the only place where I add to this list.
Got it.
And then the thing that NixOS configurations, that I have a single NixOS system call and call site, and it adds this module that imports the rest of the modules. It feels kind of hacky that it's like
Yeah, you're
it's
basically trying to
merging.
traverse from one module system to another here.
Yeah.
Yeah. In the
But
way
it
that this would be.
works good
Yeah,
enough.
yeah. This makes sense. Cool.
All right. Where were we? Let's close this up. Even here. Yeah, because I didn't even open our project yet. Okay. Close this and close that. And then bring it back to you. Close this as well.
Okie dokie. All right. Share screen. Here we Okay, and mob start set. And I believe we just got everything working. Mixed flake check and everything. And now we're just doing a mob done and looking at the diff.
You can do a diff without mob done.
Mm-hmm.
Diff against the base branch.
Sure. Okay. Right. So, lock file, not very surprising, given that we added a new top level dependency and dropped rocket. So I'm gonna zip through that fairly quickly.
You can search for cargo log because cargo.toml, because that would be the next file most likely.
Oh, okay. Cargo.
Yeah.
Yep. Looks good. So fragile child got moved up. Futures got probably moved up from somewhere.
Yep.
Reasonable. Makes sense that we don't see poem here. Okay. API. Here's where a lot of stuff happened. Anyhow, is someone from there. Futures, workspace, fragile child, poem. Goodbye, rocket, and Tokyo. Okay.
Is there anything else that needs to be gone from here because we're not using rocket anymore?
Good question. I don't know.
Open it. Open this file. Dependencies. Anyhow, PR tracker API config, Camino, config. Config we're still using, aren't we? Wait, config I think we are like aren't even using in main anymore, are we?
I mean, we're using it.
We are. Okay,
here.
forget it. We're using it. Futures, fragile child. Is fragile child used in API now? Why would it? It's for the tests, isn't it? I think it should go. If it's only for the test, it should go to the dev dependencies. But is it only for the tests? Don't we? It's fine. It must be only for the tests.
Fragile. In API, it is used in test ST notify and test ST notify. Yep, I think you're right.
Cool.
Good catch.
Where were we? Futures poem.
Mm-hmm.
PR tracker store. That's probably not a change. 30. I'm sure 30 is part of it somehow still.
Yeah, JSON for sure.
SQLX. That would probably not be a change. This error.
Mm-hmm.
This error. We're still using this error?
Pretty sure.
Most likely.
I mean, I can't. Okay,
but
let me try
if
that
we're
again.
not,
I don't know what this error is. We use anyhow.
This
This error is for like creating errors ergonomically.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
And then you get the creating errors and then the conversion, defining the conversions between errors.
Got it.
Give us a search for this error in an API, please.
There it is. API circlib.
Just one? On what?
Landed error. But that makes sense because that's the only error that we return from our API probably.
Yes, but that also might mean that we don't need this error.
Maybe.
How is it that PR number non-positive error is not, we're not deriving this error on it? Can you go there? Or also for PR error?
Sure. We are. But this comes from the store crate.
And
you were asking for usages in API.
And the other one as well?
I think so.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yep, this is also the store crate.
Yeah, okay, fine. Then that's in use. Tokyo. Now we're using Tokyo main here.
Well, we were using Tokyo indirectly. Now we're using it directly.
Yes. Util. That's I'm using util both in dev and the DB context is from util, right? So
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know if we're using this in production code or just we use it to do migrations.
SD notify is only for target family Unix, which is a pretty cool feature.
Yeah.
Looks kind of hacky here, but I guess that's what you got to do in this, format, something like that.
Sure.
Dev dependencies, DB context. Oh wait, I thought DB context is from util. I guess it's not. Fragile child and temp file. That makes sense. We're still using temp file? I don't think we changed that.
Here it is.
Yeah, that's where we
notify.
make the socket. Create the socket inside there. Okay, fine. We got past that. Cargo toml.
Okay. API cert lib.rs. Gonna be a lot.
Yep.
So I'm glossing over the imports. It makes sense to me that a lot changed here. Kind of nice that we got to drop that.
Mm-hmm.
We have an app that returns. Do you want the rotation or should I keep going?
Keep going.
Okay. Acceptor and endpoint seems reasonable.
I want to read it with colors and everything.
Sure. How do you want to do that?
In your editor.
Another way of doing this would be to push it to GitHub, and we'll have a diff and colors.
We can look at this and say, okay, there has been a change in function app, and then go look in the editor, at function app in the editor.
Here we go.
Does function app? I think function app now can be actually inlined into main because I think it now has one usage. Function app has been extracted for main. There's a trouble thing for this, or I mean, there should be find
inline into all colors. Oh boy, did that actually do it?
I think it did it, but now you can delete it and kind of.
Okay. Let's see what we got going on. Do I have multiple? I'm not convinced that did anything. Let's see.
You have 4 warnings here.
Yeah, see how this didn't change another file? It only
you have to save all files now. Write all files.
Okay. Nothing.
Huh?
So I don't think that did it. Let me try again. Inline into all colors. 1. Enter. Yeah, I don't have any files that are in need of save.
Well, you can do it from the other side. You can go to main.
That worked. Okay.
There's one error here. There's an unresolved import. That makes sense. And now you have to import some things.
Okay. assume there's a home TCP listener. What do I know? Oh man, what a pain. Okay. Maybe that came from there. Who knows?
The TCP listener is yeah, I think it's phone.
Endpoint, which we're going to need to import from the place. This way, right? Go. It doesn't like all the ports. Sure.
Oh, this binding exists, and also DB-URL exists.
Yes, it does. So why is it not complaining about that one? The ref
It's
string
shadowing.
versus a sure. Ref. Okay. Lovely. All right. And it's removed from here, which is going to mean remove all unused imports. That did not remove all unused imports. Okay. Whatever. All right. There we go. That's that. The next thing here is something about from request.
Well, there's been a change in main.
There's been a change in main.
Right?
Oh, do we need to rebase?
No, I mean, from a perspective of reviewing, I'd like to see main. Just like, the app not being in part of main might not be the only
main
criticism.
the file. I thought you were talking about main the branch.
Main the file, the function.
Sure. Yeah. So, whoops, too far. So I mean, we'll get there eventually. We just haven't gotten there yet.
Okay.
Like M comes after L.
Sure.
All right. So after app is this from request stuff?
Endpoint, actually, right above it.
Oh,
That.
my bad. Where's app? How did I blow past that? There's app. Oh, okay. So we skipped that before. This is okay. Sure. Yep. Endpoint.
It returns a box endpoint, and that's what that was with the help of Roland. You remember we couldn't understand, like we couldn't get it to be not generic, couldn't get it to be concrete without giving it a large, like a long concrete type. And this is because we didn't find box endpoint. What Roland did as an experienced Rust developer is look for that. He expected to find a box endpoint provided by Poem.
Yeah, that was, frankly, that whole thing was going over my head. I remember there was some painful stuff. This was one of them.
So this is a pattern of providing a box foo when the type is generic, when there are generics involved, and we tried it ourselves. We tried putting that box dyn endpoint. We couldn't do it because endpoint was not type safe, not object safe.
Yeah.
And I don't know how box endpoint makes, solve that problem.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not primed to I don't appreciate the problem yet. It's just like, it's in the realm of like, oh boy, things I need to learn more about Rust.
It's okay. We'll get to trait objects when we do.
Yeah. Anyways, I mean, the shape of this code feels totally reasonable to me. Creating a pool to the database, We set some options here.
What is that
That's
unwrap over there?
this one here.
Mm-hmm. Oh, we said we will probably get a reasonable result from. Yeah, I think we talked about that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, we can't start up, so
You give us a blank line after that unwrap, just for pretty.
Sure.
And
then we migrate, and
that should
we
also have a reasonable error.
want to ensure that that happens. And then we boot up, connect to the database.
Does util migrate have a reasonable error stringification in case it fails?
I don't know.
What is the error type returned from that? Migrate error. It's our own error. If we have defined it with this error.
Wait, why do you say this is our error?
No, I'm sorry, it's not. It's not our error.
But yeah, I mean, these. I see strings here.
Yeah,
it looks like someone's gone to some effort.
Yep, it's good.
Great. And then yeah, we have 2 endpoints: health check and PR. Totally reasonable.
The color of your inlay hints.
I know. I don't like
surprising.
it. I haven't customized it. This is just what happened when I turned it on, and I have not dug into it.
Huh.
But it looks way too much like real code.
Yeah. It does. Yeah, make a note for yourself.
Oh, it's it's already on the list.
Okay,
Don't worry.
Should have assumed.
Yeah, so that's that. And then the next thing is from request, which is our implementation for DB connection.
Mm-hmm.
This doesn't necessarily have to live in this file.
We don't have another file, I think.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm surprised. Is this formatted? That's a long line 38.
What could it do about it?
No, I'm surprised. This should break at the dots. Something's preventing formatting here.
I don't know what to say.
Oh. Okay.
I mean, I can like do other things like. Yep, you're absolutely right. Formatting is not happening. But why is formatting not happening? Press to enable. What you got there? Okay, shall we go figure that out now?
Yeah.
Okay. So
go to main.
That works. Look at that. So formatting is enabled.
Well,
but here I get nothing.
What you get nothing from doing what? How do you with Nix font or with what?
Nix font, yeah.
But in your editor you do?
So here, let me convince both of us in no uncertain terms. Git status is clean. Here we are. Oops. Let me turn
That's
off
your
auto
editor.
formatting. Yep. So here we go. Git diff. Okay. Nix font.
Mm-hmm.
Git diff is clean. All right.
Uh-huh.
And then git diff Nix font. Good diff.
But your editor does do it?
No, my editor behaves exactly the same as my command line. I was just doing it in the command line. to avoid any
Okay.
confusion about what my editor does.
What?
So, do we have cargo functions?
I think long literal strings, kind of sometimes break the linter. I think I've encountered that before.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, this is just the way that cargo functions works. Just a little weird. So if I do something like this, it might start behaving differently.
No. I think just the fact that a long literal is part of that expression
Mm-hmm.
is preventing the formatting.
Okay, but if I do something like this, and then I put the spaces back in,
Still
still nothing.
What?
It's breaking more than just the expression.
Joking? What is it breaking? Everything after it? In the block?
Sure seems like it.
Oh,
Have you landed any PRs to cargo? Or Rust funds?
don't think so.
Yeah, so that's unfortunate behavior.
You try Googling it. Rust from long string literal.
Only fails to format the block. Yep, this is documented. If it is not possible to format a block so that it fits within the target line width, the block will not be formatted at all. Man, that's a little odd. Like,
I'd
I
like
get
to
it.
see
You're
an
not going to
issue.
reformat. There, here we go. Close. There's no good formatting fix. Doing nothing and let the user fix it. For the line, but it breaks all the blocks it is in. Yeah. Who's the person who said no? NRC. Let's see if they speak up again. Various tricks for. It's the same root cause. What's the status of the bug? Here's another example. Several hours on this unit test. I'm going to close it.
In favor of, okay. Okay. That
Give
sounds
up
better.
on chains if any line is too long. Okay. This isn't about chains, though.
Chains, it's the entire block.
That's a single expression, right?
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Oh boy, 150 more.
Yeah, this just seems a little rough. Yeah, I understand correctly that if I have a too long string literal, then Rust format will just ignore the whole function without any warning/error. There's nothing you can do about it because something and something are unstable. Jeez. Yeah, this thing's rough.
Okay. Can we make it not long?
That feels like the tail wagging the dog to me.
The dog is Rust filmed. You wanna go deal with the dog?
No, I just want to leave it the way it is.
How about put it as a const outside the function?
Why? Is it just because we
I
want the
know it's
formatting?
yeah.
I would
Sorry.
consider that
I
worse
know
than
it's
breaking it up in line. Like
sure. You need to just
I'd rather
format
have
it
the code
manually.
read linearly. What?
Fine.
Sorry?
Just format it manually.
Well, again, I'd rather just do nothing, but I'm not gonna die on that
I
hill.
would
So how do I do this?
break at the function calls, at the method calls before the
Oh,
periods.
okay. Sorry. I think I misunderstood. I thought we were just trying to shorten the string literal to get formatting working again. Are you saying do something different?
Before, not after the. Yep. Yeah. That does the trick.
And then if I get this string literal small enough, I don't know how spaces work with string literals. Are
They don't.
leading white space gonna get removed or?
No, it's not.
Okay.
There's you need a crate for that.
Okay. Okay. I mean, are you happy enough with this, or do
Yes,
we?
yeah, I am.
Okay. Great.
Except for line 42 with those extra spaces.
All right. I'll allow that one. Sure. And I've got more down. My bad. Okay. What a pain.
Yeah, one day, someday, we'll
Yep.
Rust will format it for us.
I mean, I didn't. Yeah. I don't even care. I just like the whole point of an auto formatter in my mind is to not have to spend any time talking or thinking about this stuff. And so when it does weird things or doesn't do things, just moving on. But
Okay.
we're done. Okay. Get this poem from request. There we go. Okay, the next thing is landed. That's the meat of our API here, and hopefully not a lot changed. Really, just the first line of code got massaged a little bit from DB into con, and then the parameters understandably changed. The path parsing and the DB connection from request middleware thingy we built.
Hmm.
That feels great to me.
Can we use difftastic? Can you do that?
Sure. I have somewhere doing 15.
Mm-hmm.
There we go. Which does
You
not
can do.
page. That's fine. I have a terminal emulator with scroll. Oh, but then it doesn't resize. Damn. Okay.
You can also disable side by side if you want. But it's nice. Side by side is nice.
Yeah. I'll reset. I'll do it on a full screen, and we just won't try to look at it on anything other than a full screen. Okay. Do-do-do-do-do. Mm, mm. Here we go. API. API. List. Lib. Okay. So there's the landed diff, right? DB changed to con, and the parameters changed, and the return value changed. We're now returning a poem result.
Mm-hmm. Ha. Why is path a change? Oh, because no, I don't know. Why is path now like what's the?
Well, previously we got PR number via this
Oh
extremely
right,
rocket
all
specific
right.
thing.
No, I get it. I get it. No, I see. I see. Yeah, and the connection, and now it's not. It's still. It is a connection. Instead of DB, what's DB? DB. Is it still
DB was a
DB?
connection, and now it's a. We just renamed the variable while we did it.
Mm-hmm. Mm. Uh, Fine.
Sweet. Health check got simpler. Apparently there was
Oh,
some clippy thing.
need this path by value. Don't need to allow that. Okay.
Looks good. That's the extent of our API, and everything else is testing and error infrastructure. So implementing response error for landed error. Great. I remember doing this. It's like two parts. You define a function status and an as response. This might just be a helper function. I can't remember, or if it does use status directly.
What
But
helper function?
I guess I don't know how trait implementations work. You probably can't add arbitrary helper functions
You
inside of
cannot
your.
add. No, you have
I see.
to. You must implement the ones that don't have default, and you may implement the ones that have default implementations. That's
Got it. And if you want a helper function, you got to move it into the default implementation or something.
Not into the. What is the default implementation?
The impl without a for.
Inherent method. Yeah, inherent methods.
Inherent method. Got it. Okay, makes sense.
Yeah. This is called an impl trait, and the inherent one is called just an impl.
I see. Good to know.
I suppose.
So PR, yeah, I mean, there are a few variants of error here. You know, that's parsing the path, and this is we talked to the database and had some issue.
So this
talk to the database, or the thing wasn't in the database.
And this just conforms with our tests, I suppose.
Yep. And soon to be our documented API, which will be exciting.
Right. Whoa.
Whoops.
Where did we jump?
I accidentally typed, which I'm not. I thought I was in a pager. I pressed J and K and ended up in a very wrong place. Sorry about that. So yeah, that's the extent of the API changes.
And as a response is somehow equivalent to respond to, I can see that it has some unchanged lines there.
Yep. For each type, for each variant of the error, we return a string. Yeah. This code on the right makes me happier than the code on the left. So this is good stuff.
It's mostly deletions of the code on the left. See that? There's not a lot of green there. Mostly red on the left.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, we had to like split out status into a separate thing, and I don't know why it needs the status separately. It seems reasonable for it to be able to know the status separately, though, so it doesn't bother me. So yeah, good stuff. Okay, here we are. Main. So we just inlined this SD notify stuff. There's a to-do here.
We just, we inlined it, but.
So I think we can delete this to-do, right? We are unwrapping there and there.
Look, we don't need the tuple thing. The let except or and endpoint. That's just funny. We can that block
point.
does not need to exist.
This can get a lot cleaner. I agree. Okay, let's do it. Main.rs. So I'm going to remove the to-do.
What about the to-do?
This is about unwrapping, which we are doing.
No. What? I don't. But it's not only the question of unwrapping or not. It's more like the question of whether we should like error with some other string.
Okay, let's talk about it.
Could you place a blank line above and below SD notify, please?
Sure.
Thank you. What unwraps do we have there? This one, first one, is What error is that? Looks like an
The
IO
acceptor?
error. Mm-hmm.
It's something about binding to a
Show us
socket.
the type of into acceptor.
Into
Yeah, the thing
acceptor.
before await. That's what I would look at, not await.
It just shows us the future, right?
So I guess you're right. Show us the await.
So
Go
you're
to,
curious about this
there's
TCP
IO
acceptor?
error.
Error.
Problem
Okay.
with IO error is that it may or may not be useful because you can actually create your own IO errors, which is kind of funny because there would be fake, you know. Real IO errors comes from the from system calls.
Yeah.
But you can create your own, and they would have most likely more informative messages than the ones coming from system calls are notoriously
Yeah.
what the heck.
Yeah. So I mean, we could do a dot context, which is like failed to, failed to bind on port blah.
Yep. They, would know what. Yeah, that's informative.
And I'd be inclined to just say adder here, which doesn't exist yet. Extract that into a variable called header. Failed to bind on header. Does that work for you?
Yes.
And that is going to do the interpolation, even though no special syntax highlighting.
No, it's not going to do the interpolation.
Okay.
It's not. Good
How do
question.
I interpolate?
That's another format.
Format
Format.
bang. And then I guess for people who really care, avoiding allocations or unnecessary string. Why is that? Hold on. Move
It's already been moved, right? Is it?
like that. Okay. And then for people who really care about unnecessary string formatting, they would like put this in a callback or something.
Hmm.
Is that what this with context is? It takes a function, maybe?
Looks like it. Yeah, try it. Why not? This is the least hot code path that we have, so it
I
doesn't
know,
matter.
it's kind of silly. But looks like that was an easy change.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I like it.
And then we have a notify. Then we have an unwrap for it. But we have a context. That's cool. And then we have an endpoint. Gives us a box dyn. Dyn endpoint. It's not an endpoint. It's a dyn. That's how it gets solved. It's a dyn endpoint. Different trait.
Mm-hmm.
Server new with acceptor run await. And that unwrap, that we should take a look at. Just like we do the rest of them. What does run await result error? Another IO one. So
Yeah.
context, I don't know, couldn't run server.
Well, I mean, does this also maybe happen when the server unexpectedly crashes?
Oh, you're right. Yeah, that's not just, yeah. Yep. I think
I'm not sure.
it's, no,
I feel
no,
like,
it's true. That's the only way that the server would crash. That's the only, because we don't panic, and Poem wouldn't panic for us, I would assume.
yeah.
So something like server crashed.
I mean, this might be obvious. There we go.
with context.
Why?
Oh, you're right. This will only happen if the server crashes.
Well, or more like we're not doing any string interpolation.
That's allocate.
We're not
There's
allocating
no
that string at
allocation. You're
runtime,
right.
right?
It's static. It's
Baked
in the
into
binary.
the executable, yeah.
Good thinking. All right, that's main then.
Sweet.
What's
Sweet,
next?
sweet, sweet. Alrighty. So the to-do is not addressed, or is addressed. We're deleting the comment.
Oh, yes. Sorry.
Great. Okay, moving on. Test util.rs. All right. So this is nice. The test context only changed in that we're using a different type of test client from our HTTP library. Totally makes sense.
That's pretty sweet.
Yeah. And then we've got this test something bound. I don't know. Now it's a different type. The an FN1.
But also I noticed that I think it can go back to being the previous syntax where it's an impl fn1s. See where there's no where clause, and that might be there might be an action for that.
Okay.
Just to minimize the change.
Where would you put your cursor?
Probably on the F, yeah.
No code actions.
Maybe on the where keyword. Okay,
No
do it
code
manually.
actions available. Okay.
What you would do is after
this stuff.
all of it, including the plus.
Okay, so I'm confused because on the right-hand side here, the plus static goes after the return value.
This all applies to the
Oh,
F.
sorry, on the left-hand side. Yes. Okay, I see. Yeah. It's what the function returns. Okay. My bad.
So it would be impl that in that context.
Okay.
See, it's not entirely equivalent, you see? In that position, it's a type. In the where clause, it's a bound.
Okay.
And this is a kind of a shorthand for a bound in the type position.
Mm-hmm. So for simple enough bounds, you can write them as these simples.
Yes.
Got it. Makes sense. All right.
What? Also, does that mean that we don't need F generic at all?
I don't know.
Like, what's F here now?
Good point. Okay. Love it. Still seems to do the thing.
The diff again, please.
Yep. So this is great. I love this. This was incredibly awkward to figure out. And now it's just pass a thing to a function. Love
it. Figment.
Totally reasonable. I pressed J again.
Apparently,
happening.
It was a figment.
Gone now. And then we're constructing a test client in the new framework, which for whatever reason is not fallible. So, or maybe it is fallible, but it doesn't return a result. And then we build our test context, which we renamed from
No
this
need to
to
rename it, right?
sure. I don't know. I don't remember that change. Don't care. There we go. It's called this again. All right. That's that file, and I keep thinking I'm in a freaking pager. Oh my gosh. So, on to the next file, sd notify. So, hey, this comment's no longer true. That feels nice, huh?
Removing that comment.
And then, does this mean we should
It can
move
keep
the
living
test?
in this. It can keep living there, but without a special reason.
Okay. Works for me. Okay, this is a lovely trick. Very good for writing integration tests without having to like invoke cargo or assume the location of the binary or anything. I love it. And then, yeah, spawn a child process with the environment variables. True end-to-end test. Don't leak the child. That's in, yep. And where's our assertion? There it is. So the assertion didn't change, which you would expect. We just sort of changed the way we run the test. We're no longer using test context. We're using database context.
Good.
I'm very happy with the code here, so I'm going to keep moving. Feel free to stop me.
Oh, it's good.
All right. Cool. So this
More tests.
the
Which
moves got added.
this is kind of important that we, see that the assertions are the same, are equivalent.
Sure. I'm ignoring the move. That's some detail about borrow checking that I am not prepared to understand at this early on this little sleep on a Monday. I'm going to trust that it was necessary. Dispatch versus send. Reasonable. Assert status is okay. Also looks
Could
nice.
you remove that move?
Okay, you want to know if it's necessary? Let's do it. Tests. Test. Move. Boom, boom, boom. To force the async lock to take ownership of CTX.context, use the move.
CTX client. So the field is moved because what? Yeah. And show me the change again. See why it wasn't necessary. Currently in main.
I don't understand why it was not necessary. It was something about the type here didn't require moving, I guess, or didn't require taking ownership.
I think it's because in main the entire context is a reference.
So it went from being a reference to not being a reference?
Yeah. Here it's owned. Okay. And therefore, the only way for it to remain alive is to be moved into that block.
Okay. Interesting. So where did we change that? That would be up here. In test infrastructure. Maybe we haven't read that yet. Is that down below? Nope. Good near the bottom. That's nice.
It's in test util there. So
I scroll past it. Thank you. Okay, so database context.
Line 37,
I see. 32. So this ampersand disappeared. Should we keep that ampersand?
I think it's an unrelated change.
Removing the ampersand is an unrelated change.
I think so. If it's not necessitated, but by whatever it is we're doing here, then it's unrelated. It might have been, related. I just don't remember at this point.
Sure. I mean, maybe we were thrashing about. And now this thing takes a
that might be the link that we're in order to. Yeah, I think that's probably it. In order
this
for this to not
lifetime thing.
be a reference at all, it simplifies it for us.
Yeah, okay, fine by me.
And I think the simplification is probably related, not certainly related.
Okay.
I don't remember.
Well, works for me.
It might be piggybacking.
Yeah. I'm fine with it if you are.
It's a practical decision not to get back into that now.
Okay. So health check not okay. Send instead of dispatch and service unavailable. So the assertion didn't change. That's good. PR not found. Send instead of dispatch not found. And look, the assertion's a little easier for some reason. That's nice. Oh, they have a little helper assert text. Love it. Very lovely. And then for some reason we don't have to do an into. Someday I'll understand strings and strs in Rust. That'll be a big exciting day. Okay. Dispatch send. Assert okay. Wonderful. Assert JSON. Also a nice helper method. Very slick. Await. No unwrap, huh?
It's like
This thing panics
poem.
under the hood or something? I guess
It
so.
panics.
Yeah,
Yeah,
these are all panicking. Makes sense.
it's like poem gives you more of the more important things.
This definitely seems nicer. So, assert is okay. Assert JSON. Love it, love it, love it. Okay, great. That's our test. And I'm at the bottom. So cargo toml, this probably, we moved it up to the top level, moved it up to the top level, and
Why is it indent? It's
moved it up
because
to
the
the top
line
level.
on the left is long.
The file name, or not the file name, the comment. Yeah. Love it. This feels great.
Okay, now remember our using of unwrap instead of try expressions?
Are using of unwrap instead of try expression.
Yeah, we also piggybacking on this change to poem with some unwrapping instead of try expressions instead of. You have a Nix
Sorry.
front there.
Weird. I just want to see that. Test util save. Oh, I turned off auto formatting. There we go.
So can we take a look at the code path from main into endpoint?
From main into endpoint. Sorry, I don't.
Not the main branch, the main function.
Okay.
So endpoint now panics or what? 35. Endpoint seems to be, or maybe endpoint is pure.
There's an unwrap and another unwrap.
Certainly not
to the
pure.
database and running migrations are things that can fail.
So that migrate, we talked about these unwraps. Okay. And anything? No, that's good.
Yep.
Okay. Seems
we
like
make a PR?
seems like we
I'm
converted
done.
this to poem.
Yeah.
I mean, depends on what the next flag check already passed. We didn't do anything considerable now.
Git commit. Here we go. All right.
Refactor.
Refactor. Switch from Rocket to
Yep.
Poem.
migrate.
Migrate has a
Database connotation.
yeah. It's fine. I'm not worried about it.
Maybe a little bit in the body of why we do this, because we plan to
Yeah,
use
we
poem.
we want
The
to
poem.
document our API
Yeah.
with open API. I don't know how to spell open API. However, we explored doing this in the Rocket ecosystem and were disappointed. Poem
Right back.
of this, so we,
Back.
okay. I'm creating a PR. We can get CI going on this thing.
PR.
Do you use Alacrity?
Yes.
Have you upgraded to Alacrity 0.14? It just came out.
Is it? I don't know. Nix package is unstable.
Yeah,
Whatever's there.
I just got it last night. They changed the default keyboard shortcut for opening links,
It's actually giving me a. Oh, oh.
which is irking
What?
me.
I didn't notice that yet. What are
Yeah,
they now?
it changed from Control Shift U for URL to Control Shift O, I guess, for open.
Wait. So what does that mean? Like open the last URL that is printed, that is found? What does that do?
No, it's the uh like the hints that get overlaid on top of the URLs.
What hints?
So like if I do echo http :/google.com, and then if I do Control Shift, it used to be Control Shift U, but now if I do Control Shift O, you
I
see the
didn't even
K,
know about this.
the F, and the J. Oh, okay.
Wait, so
Yeah,
what?
this was my
Control Shift U?
well, it used to be, but don't get used to that unless you want to configure the default.
Okay, O for open?
Yeah, if you're using Alacrity 0.14.
Okay, I am now. I mean, I am. But so
Okay.
I will. Let's see what I have. Alacrity version 0.14. Cool. Thank you for
Yeah,
that.
so
That's a
you don't
good
have
tip.
to untrain your brain. That's funny. That was kind of like my single issue way of choosing a terminal emulator. I wanted one that had hints for opening URLs. I used to use Termite
It's out of date.
before.
Would you mind using this button but not the drop down and do a rebase?
Sure.
The only thing that is out of date is flake inputs. So
Got it.
should not
Since
conflict.
yeah. Alrighty. Now we can watch paint dry. Got something better to talk about while we wait for this to go green?
Let's go look at the Poem Open API.
I like it. Poem. This is built into Poem, or at least part of the same mono repo.
It has its own README. Okay.
Proc Max.
Does this mean that we're going to like have another package and have another web page to deploy? I remember something like we get to deploy an entire app that is an API explorer kind of thing.
I remember that, yeah.
Okay. Okay. Poem API allows you to easily implement APIs that comply. Wait. Implement APIs that comply with the OpenAPI v3 specification? So an API that complies with the OpenAPI v3 specification means that it provides documentation in some format, right? That's what it means.
That's kind of an odd way of putting it, because I think OpenAPI is just for documenting the API. However, the API is written, it's like not like the API changes to comply. It's just you have docs that are generated, but whatever.
It uses procedural macros to generate a lot of boilerplate code so that you only need to focus on the more important business implementations. Docs and cargo package features. Type safety. If your code can be compiled, then it is fully compliant. Wow. That sounds nice. Rust font friendly. Do not create. It's Rust font friendly. I get it. Do not create any DSL that does not conform to Rust syntax.
That means the way that one writes proc macro is syntax aware. I thought you were generating ASTs.
This means, see, only some macro invocations can be formatted by Rust font. Others
Oh,
are
I
simply
see.
not.
It's like the stuff that
It's
goes
not
on the
touched.
inside. You can do like arbitrary stuff with the tokens, but
Yeah.
depending on the tokens you put in there, Rust font will freak out or give up.
It just only certain only of a few certain forms, a few certain specific forms, Rust font knows how to format.
Okay. Yeah, so I think I got hung up by the word create. Create, to me, I interpreted this as the code that it generates.
That never is formatted anyway, right? It doesn't exist.
That's why I was like, you're not generating white space generated code, you're just generating an AST, I thought. So that's what I was confused about. But they're saying another way of saying this is the DSL we provide conforms with Rust's syntax, facts, or whatever. Rust functions expectation.
I don't think there are Rust syntax specifications. That's not. I don't think that's the thing. It's Rust.
Sure.
Whatever Rust font supports can format.
Right. Yeah.
IDE friendly. Any code generated by the procedural macro will not be used. What does that mean?
I don't know. Directly versus indirectly. I don't see how that's a feature.
I don't know what this is.
Mm-hmm.
Minimal overhead, all generated code is necessary, and there is almost no overhead. No,
I
I
guess
get
they're
it.
saying
What?
this shouldn't impact the runtime of your API server.
I guess, yeah, I guess you could, create, implement proc macros naively, right? If you and then they end up having too much craft generated. Crate features to avoid compiling all these crate features. No, I get it. It does quite a lot, right? This has to do like for what types it supports documenting and what like front end targets its outputs, right? There's Swagger, there's RapidDoc, Redoc, OpenAPI Explorer. Okay.
Reasonable, totally reasonable.
Yeah. Safety.
What about safety?
This crate uses forbid unsafe code to ensure everything is implemented in 100% safe routes. That's a feature.
Okay.
Here's an example. You have your impl, you have your struct API, which we don't have at the moment. And then there's an impl for it, and there's an OpenAPI macro on top of that. OAI attribute above the async function index with the path and method get.
And so what we like about this is we're not repeating the path in two places.
Yeah.
That was something we had to do in the Rocket universe, I believe.
So
that's quite nice. We're not saying what types it returns here, which is also great because it's already there in the type signature. So this looks great.
So we'd have to, but then, how do we use API? How is API used there? Like where is API destruct used?
Right here.
There is also. Oh, I wonder whether this supports what we're doing with because it takes the address that it's listening on. No, it doesn't. It's like it's kind of a discrepancy. The server there. We'd have to think about that a little bit because that's not what it binds to.
Right. Yeah, so there's some duplication here between here and here.
But there doesn't need to be. This is just an example in which
I don't know if this is maybe like the API docs need to know the path they're hosted at or something.
I think that gets documented. That probably gets documented, right?
So that's reasonable, and it does mean that if we haven't done this yet, it's pretty normal for web servers to say, hey, give me the host name that I'm running on.
Look, we don't deploy an additional thing. We actually, it gives us an endpoint that serves in the same app.
Yep. Yeah, this .NET. So that's how it worked with Rocket as well. I remember that. I should say that's how it would have worked with Rocket had we decided to go down that path.
What was it? This feature needs to be. What feature? This feature needs to be opted in.
Swagger UI? Not well explained what feature they're talking about, but it must be this thing.
A little clumsy on the documentation.
Sure. And then run the example. Boom. And then MSRV contributing license. Love it. This is what we want. No nonsense. I'm sure we'll find nonsense once we start trying to use it, but there isn't any documented nonsense at least.
Yeah, after all this refactor, it should be quite simple to add refactor early, right?
We will see how this goes. I'm excited. I will say, Rust and the ecosystem here has lived up to its reputation a bit. Doesn't seem like we spent any time really debugging runtime issues with the port, unless you did that during sessions that I wasn't present for.
No.
I think like the only interesting thing was the SD notify thing, which was like a failing test, not really a
The
not a
timeout,
compilation error.
the
Oh, and the
DB
timeout
connection timeout.
was, yeah, understandable.
So different frameworks have different defaults.
Well, there's no framework here. We're the ones who wrote the code that connects to the database.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it makes sense that the framework we were using had a default, and it's different than the underlying SQLX default. So yeah, sure would be nice to see this PR go green. Is it okay if I enable auto merge on this?
Yes, I kind of have it somehow in my mind that this is already a community project.
Mm-hmm.
There's such an intention, but it's not yet. I think we still can just make progress. Even when we, even if we when we move this to Nix community, I think even at that point we will still be authorized to make progress on this.
Yeah,
without
I think
more input.
probably up to us.
I guess what I'm looking for is like to show and tell, and get the tap on the back from the Nix infrastructure veterans.
Mm-hmm.
Good job, Don and Jeremy. That's good work. Thank you for doing this.
Yeah, I'm not sure how this will be received. I think we can build a good thing and get it deployed, and hopefully people find it useful.
So what you been up to?
Well, I fixed that bug in the language server that I asked you about last time. The can't
Cool.
exit.
Select.
Yeah. Did that work? Just like you kind of pointed me to, it was a matter of the select code and then writing the writing the underlying code routine to actually have one of them exit when the server's supposed to exit. So submitted
The
a PR
merged.
for that. No, that project is dead, I think. Like the code in main doesn't even compile right now. There's like a PR from like February trying to get the code to compile. It's like radio silent. So that's unfortunate.
Radio silence. Did you try contacting people directly?
I have not. Um, so what I did is I then commented on the bug in the actual LSP server that I was using, right? Because like I was only looking at Power LSP because it's an implementation detail of the one I use. And I commented and I said like, hey, here's the bug upstream. Here's my PR to fix it. But the project looks dead. Here's how one other LSP worked around it. What do we want to do here? And the maintainer of Harper, which is the LSP server I'm using, he responded. I think he's like a college student, so like young and full of energy, which is awesome. He was like, "Thanks for doing this. Yeah, we might need to fork Tower LSP." And I was like, oh, "Okay, all right." So I'm leaving it in his hands at this point. I have it patched for my purposes because of the power of Nix. So my life is better.
Okay.
Well, I don't know.
What's with Nick's formatting in the editor?
Waiting for Brian to do a release of Tree Fund, which will happen sometime after NixCon, I think. And then I'll be bugging people to give me a ship it on my PR to what's it called? Uh, nonetheless. So still a little ways out.
So what's the plan for today?
Gonna actually work on the mail server. I keep not working on it, but I think I'm out of distractions. Um, so and I don't think it'll be a big project. I just need to like actually spend a few hours working on it.
Hmm.
What is your plan for tomorrow?
Maybe some mobusoperandi.com. That project needs some work.
Are any of those mobs alive?
That's another point, that it's it takes like work to maintain, because
Hmm.
especially because it's a pull request to update. It's not a like UI that you go and like, okay, I'll change this and that. And
Yeah.
I kind of I'm kind of wanting to like re-implement this using something that is not custom, that is commodity, but I keep not finding anything
Mm.
like that. I'm thinking maybe some CMS with calendar, with a
Sure,
calendar.
there's a WordPress
But,
plugin for that, but
yeah, but I want
that
to
sounds like a
allow,
lot.
yeah, the 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 PR workflow seems like a reasonable way to, for it's easy to implement. Well, it's already or not easy to implement, but but still, compared to having a database,
Oh yeah, that's
having
such
a
a big
user registration workflow,
yeah.
a PR already has all that because it relies on GitHub infrastructure.
Yeah.
PRs.
And you give people the option of using their own editors, or they can use GitHub Scrappy Web UI. Like that, that, I mean, if people are not keeping their metadata up to date, I don't know that, I don't know what the, that seems like a lot of work to maybe fix the issue.
And the premise is, it's a premise that requires a lot of a good amount of it's okay that there are mobs there that are out of date. I think there should be probably a feature to report
Mm,
mobs that are out of date, so that any visitor could say, hey, this is out of date, and then I could, be notified and remove it or contact the.
yeah,
But the premise that it would work at all and people would participate, I know some people that have been interested, that recently someone did add their mob. Um, but the premise that this will take off and will be used, more extensively, requires some faith.
yeah,
Because who are those edge cases that would say, we mob, and not only do we mob, we don't not only do we happen to mob, we happen to do it on a schedule, and we want to publicize that fact, that
yeah.
you might join us or watch us. It's
It's funny
it's
because
all
it's like
but
exactly
far-fetched.
it's exactly the sort of thing I itched for many years. Like oh, I like coding, but I like coding with people,
Mm-hmm.
not professionally. Where you know, it's just sort of like if we see a distraction, let's take it. Let's figure out the right way of doing it. Let's fix it, whatever. But I was just kind of doing that stuff in my free time on my own. So there must be other people out there. I mean, there are. You found a number of them.
It's just there's not enough to make something. You need to reach the people who would use it, even
Yeah,
if it's free.
right.
Whatever the heck it is.
Yeah.
Even if it's free, you have to somehow reach those people.
Yeah.
It's almost like more difficult, more challenging to reach those people. Adoption is more challenging than building
Well,
many things.
that's the thing that always bothers me is whenever I play oh, I've done a thing that I want somebody like me to use, or I've got a question that I want somebody like me to answer. It's like, how the hell would I get a hold of me? Like, I have, I don't browse, Hacker News or Lobsters or I don't know. I just don't. It's frustrating. I'm like, I think of myself as my own audience, but I also have no way to reach the people like me. And maybe I should actually follow Hacker News or Lobsters or something like that.
Well, there's the Mob Mentality show podcast. I could I was kind of that was I'm sure I thought about it before that I would eventually go on the show and just to talk about this, which I
Mm-hmm.
did before, but I think it was much earlier on. I'm not even sure if mobusoperandi.com existed at that point. I don't quite remember. I think it did.
Mm-hmm.
And still it's yeah, I think it's also requires uh more design work to like make it clear what it is and why you might want to use it.
Yeah, I could see that. Um, but yeah, the community building, community creation side of things it's something I look for. It's a feature for me in software and related things, but it's also like I've never, outside of the Rubik's Cube stuff, I've never managed to have something take off. Our PR did land, so that's exciting.
Ooh, nice. Very nice. Why are there two of these? This is, how do we see which one is which?
It's the
Release and
file name,
docs.
docs and release. Yeah.
So this will be just a refactor. It won't even trigger a release.
I don't know how we have things configured. I don't remember.
It's funny. All this work and zero value to our user. Right?
Yep. Yep. I mean, it almost makes you wonder, should we have written our tests to be completely agnostic of the web framework? You know, like we could have, just like we wrote that SD notify test. Like we could have
Mm-hmm.
spun up a server, made HTTP calls to it, turned it on the responses.
Look, we could write a macro that in its invocation is agnostic. And then its implementation would have those details.
Yep, that could help. Basically, like something that provides a curl-like API.
But also, our API server is so small. At this point, it's not worth doing anything like that.
Yeah, I agree.
Also, those functions, test context with, that can be a macro instead of a function.
Oh, what's the benefit of that? Save a function invocation, or like, are there nicer semantics?
The invoking that is not nice. It's like you call something that takes a closure, so you have in the indentation,
Oh,
and you
yeah,
don't
and
really
then the
care about all the
moves and the
details.
ownership, and a macro would make all that disappear.
Yep.
I can see how that would be nice. But there's more than, I mean, maybe this works even in a macro. It's like those things also have like the width on the test on the DB context. It like has ownership of objects that we expect to get dropped when that function call ends. I guess you just explicitly call drop in your macro. Okay,
Yeah, you can do
I
whatever
guess
you
that
want in
works.
your macro. Also, the macro could be a DSL that completely abstracts, like as pretty as you like, what you're doing in your test. You don't care anymore about the details of how the test client works. How do you make a request using these utilities? How do you assert and that? You just write it in your own syntax.
Mm-hmm.
It becomes as concise as you want it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally doable. But yeah, I can see how the macro would have saved a lot of the pain that we felt of like creating that closure, getting the async move stuff right. And yeah.
I think we will do that before we add any more endpoints. I would suggest we take a look at doing that.
Sure. Yeah. I think let's do the open API stuff next. And when we're done with that, let's take a look at our,
Vision.
do some project management and yeah, make sure we're moving towards the vision.
Push-driven updates. I think that's it. Or backport PRs. Those are also important.
Yeah. The push-driven updates is interesting because I guess we can build it without becoming an official project, but we won't be able to deploy it without becoming an official project.
This can be lack of push-driven updates can be worked around with update frequency.
Mm-hmm.
So a high frequency, as long as as much as GitHub allows, would be a reasonable substitute for that, depending on what GitHub allows.
Yep.
So we might, we probably want to test that first, and then if it suffices, we then go for, we deploy it for next packages, and then we go for backport PRs, because otherwise, I mean, do you think that current ones have any support for backport PRs? I don't think so.
Current what?
Current, different implementations of PR trackers.
No, I don't think they do. That would be a separate PR to track.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we also, this implies like some sort of specification, like we say in the second paragraph.
Yeah.
So that's all. That's the whole thing. It's going to require like understanding, you know. Ugh. I mean, we can invent or adopt a spec, but then it's only useful to the Nix community if we can get Nix packages using that spec.
I think that should be easy.
I love your
Easy.
optimism. I mean, I think it should be an easy sell. Or it's possible Nix packages already has a pattern for this, and our life's easy.
Here, PR pulls. I'm sure there is something in place, right? Like backport, right? Backport, there should be something, right? Oh no. Can I search in the title? Here.
Yeah.
That's also by GitHub Actions. So it's triggered by a label. Look at that.
Okay.
Here's the original. And there's a label, backport, space, and the branch where it should land.
Okay.
Right? But it
this
doesn't
might be the
link.
convention we follow.
Right, but what we need is a link. Does that make sense? Like, we need somewhere, probably on this one, right? On the new one. We need something that machine readably links.
Yep.
Like, this is for humans.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe a comment, like an invisible comment in the markdown.
The branch name is interesting.
Yeah.
If the branch name is stable, we can use that.
Yeah. Well, let's look up the relevant GitHub action and just look at the code.
Also, can we see do you know how to see the metadata, like the custom fields? Like, can I go and do like .json here?
Oh.
I don't even know what happened.
There's GH API, like the command line tool, but that would require.
There's api.github.com. And it's a repos, right? Repository URL. Pools, right? Pool. Would it be under repo? Repos owner those packages. Can we go to pools from here? Pools URL?
There it is.
Why URL? Oh, pools URL. Okay. This, right? And then which URL is it? The backport one, right? Number. There we go.
Huh. Nice.
URL, user, body, commit, statuses, head, label. Actually, there's a label on it. No? Wait, no. What?
Weird.
What? Head.
That's a label on head.
Label on head. Head is the commit? What is?
This must be to deal with forks. Because branch is ambiguous when you're dealing with forks or something. Because that looks like the syntax you see in like when you do a git diff across repos in GitHub.
It does. Okay. So okay. Well, that's so. Okay, so another place where it shows up. The ref is kind of similar, but those things are very GitHub. I mean, they're not necessarily stable. Repo is not interesting. What is base? Base is the base. Links. Doesn't seem like it. I don't see custom fields here.
Yeah. And I mean, the other thing to consider is, you remember the advice Valentin gave us all those months or, gosh, maybe over a year ago,
Remind
about
me.
not relying too much on GitHub. Like,
Yeah,
if
sure.
we can invent or adopt a spec that is forge agnostic, that would be preferable.
Well. So this is what we have already. Okay. We will just, look at it.
Yep.
Look at the options. I don't know how fields work, custom fields work.
We'll figure it out.
Forge agnostic would mean that we would need to use some Git feature for this, right? Like the commit itself would have that metadata.
Yeah. It's like weird
That's
because, I
doable.
mean, no, it wouldn't be. It would
Mhm.
have to be some forge agnostic concept of a pull request / merge request. Because, right, like the thing in our database that we store are pull request IDs, which is obviously a GitHub specific concept.
But it's just a commit. It's
No.
associated with a commit. It's not just a commit, but it's a PR number, but that PR number is associated with the commit.
Yeah.
And if you can say,
Okay. So I guess what you're saying is from the perspective of our users, it's kind of weird, right? So like a thing that our users can do right now is they can take a PR number and they can track it. And that works even if the PR hasn't landed anywhere yet.
yeah,
But for PRs that haven't landed anywhere yet, if you were to say, hey, Jeremy, you can just use commits instead, well, that's not true, right? Because people could force push to their PR, they could add more commits to their PR before it lands. And that's not a stable identifier of the thing.
yep. No, definitely no. The PR is the well, it is after the PR is merged, but that's
Yes.
not what I was suggesting. I was suggesting that the link from that declares on a PR, I am a backport of another PR, would be in the commit.
I see. Yeah.
One of the commits. There could be multiple commits. So don't know yet.
I'm not knowledgeable about like alternative forges to GitHub, and if there's some attempt at like there's some attempt at like federated forge stuff, and I mean like that's possible. There's some concepts there that are worth like using, but I also think this is all like pretty sci-fi. It's like a lot of Nix, and the Nix community is going to have a lot of pain and like just challenge to move off of GitHub, and like, adding another link to the chain is like not desirable, but it's also like there isn't an obvious alternative. Better to do something than nothing, I think.
All right, Jeremy.
Have a good one.
Thank you for the session, and thank you for watching. Please share this with anyone you think might enjoy watching us and learning from our virtuous craftsmanship and from our silly mistakes and thoughtless rambles. And like, share, and subscribe. And we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.